Thank you very much, Lauren. So our topic for discussion today is making sense of acceptance testing. And this has come from a number of discussions that the different ways that we're doing acceptance testing and making sure that we're getting complete. Sorry, I think I muted myself there. So here's an agenda for what we're going to be covering today. So we're going to start out with acceptance testing. What is it and why do we do it? A little bit of a history lesson, what it looks like today and how we got here. Talk a little bit about the risks and benefits of the ways that we currently do acceptance testing and how to mitigate some of those risks. Spoiler alert, one of those risk mitigations is a test plan. So we'll talk a little bit about test plans and what they should include. Finish up with some other challenges and learnings, and then any questions at the end of that. So starting out, here are some of the common acronyms that you've probably seen associated with different phases of testing. Some of these are pretty common industry terms, and some of these are a little more customer specific. I promise this isn't the start of a Dr. Seuss story, even though it kind of looks like that. These are terms that we often throw around, assuming that everyone knows what we're talking about. We'll often talk about FATs or HATs or SATs and what's going to be done there. But in reality, everyone probably has a little bit of a different idea of what they mean and what's included in that test. So the point that I want to make here is that there are a lot of ways to skin a cat, pun intended. Every project and customer is a little different, and we're going to focus on exactly what the scope of these tests are and how they would be coordinated with each other. For this presentation, I am going to focus mainly on activities up to site installation and SAT. So things like commissioning, transfer of custody and control, and startup would follow similar principles, but they're a little bit beyond the scope of today's discussion. So to start off with, what is the purpose of acceptance testing? What is it that we're trying to accomplish? The definition that I'm using is the purpose of acceptance testing is to verify that the delivered system meets the requirements of the project sponsors and users. And I use that to encompass two different things. First, it's to verify that the complete system is functional, that what we specified and purchased and all put together works together as one system. And also that the system, as it's configured and assembled and developed, meets the customer and any regulatory requirements. So requirements is a pretty general word. Ideally, when we talk about customer requirements for a system, these are things that are documented in things like the project design basis, project specifications, and other project inputs. If these aren't well defined, or if they're incorrectly defined, then suddenly we're working towards a moving target. And that's where we start to run into serious project impacts like cost, scope, and schedule. So it's key that at the start of the project, we understand what the system requirements are, make sure that they're well documented. And then as we move into acceptance testing, that those are what we are testing to.